It's June 2016, 20 years since George Colazzo's murder. Richard Rosario has been out of prison for just over 2 months now, and I've come to Florida to visit him and his family. Within 24 hours of getting out of prison a couple of months ago, Richard came down here to Florida to live with his wife Minerva and his kids Amanda and Richard Jr. Even though Rosario's conviction was thrown out, there's still a criminal case pending against him.
This is still hanging over his head. He's not out of the woods yet. He still needs to go back to court soon, and that's when he's going to find out whether the Bronx District Attorney's Office will either retry him or exonerate him.
I want to know what life has been like for Rosario and how he's adjusting after spending 2 decades in a maximum security prison.
Coming up.
He meets me outside the condo,
Come in.
where the Rosarios are now living. First of all, this is quite a picture, right, of the 4 of you sitting together.
Yep.
I catch up with the Rosario family in their kitchen.
First, just can you describe what it's like to be in a cell for 20 years and then come home?
I can't even describe it. I know that I woke up one night, I was with my wife and I was sleeping, and I woke up in the middle of the night and I jumped up, and if the door wasn't locked, I was going to be running right out of there. I didn't know where I was.
You were disoriented?
Yeah. The first night, the second night, the third night, and weeks later I still have the effects of what I went through.
His family tells me it's been tough for them since Richard's come home. Prison has hardened him, they say, and they're learning to connect in a whole new way.
Our journey, we have a long way to go, but we're gonna do it, and we're gonna make it. And I mean, it's not easy, because to say that this is easy and then love conquers everything, that's not the case. It's a matter of us growing together and being able to walk through this and being able to understand each other and respect each other.
To have him around the house and stuff, and every day interacting and stuff like that, it's different than just visiting someone or calling someone on the phone. Definitely.
It's much different having him here every day than having a 30-minute phone call. So for me, I feel like we're building a whole new relationship.
Amanda and Richard, and my wife, including my wife, they wanted their Richard back. And here we are 20 years later. They're adults, and I'm not the same man.
Rosario says he's doing all he can to make up for lost time. Playing basketball with his son. Simply enjoying a meal with his wife. But what he knows he can't get back is watching his kids grow up. Toddlers when he went away. Now, Amanda and Richard Jr. are budding musicians. The kids wrote a song for their dad. They play it for me in their makeshift studio.
I wanted to experience this world with you by my side. Hear you cheering for me from the sidelines. Hold me and tell me it's gonna be alright.
Nice.
Beautiful.
That was great.
That's what I'm talking about.
But it isn't over for Richard Rosario. He says all he wants is the DA to say publicly that he could not have killed George Colazzo.
I'm innocent and I'm home. It could have been easy to just forget about this, but I can't. You call me a murderer, you release me 20 years later, and that's it? Nah, it's unacceptable. I've been transparent from day one. I didn't deserve this.
So you want the DA's office or the court to recognize, Mr. Rosario, that you're actually innocent?
Yes, absolutely, and nothing else would be acceptable.
It's June 23rd, 2016, and Rosario is back in New York for the first time since his release. Tomorrow, he'll be heading back to court to learn his fate.
He's a good guy.
We meet up with him at Chip Lowenson's office, one of Rosario's attorneys, who's been by his side for more than a decade. You have court tomorrow.
Yes.
How are you feeling about that?
I'm feeling confident. The truth is on my side.
What do you think is going to happen?
I have no idea. I have no clue.
Are you nervous about it at all?
No.
Not at all.
No.
He says he's confident that anyone who looks at the facts of his case can only come to one conclusion. So what does District Attorney Darcel Clark think about that?
So it's been
almost 3 months to the day, actually,
Yes.
since we last spoke.
Yes.
She agrees to sit down with me again on the eve of the hearing. And when we last spoke, you said your office needed more time to investigate.
Yes.
Have you done that?
Yes, we have.
What have you learned?
We've thoroughly interviewed a number of witnesses, his alibi witnesses. We interviewed our witnesses, just every single angle we looked into. I don't feel now that I would be able to prove his guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. And that is the burden of proof that I must satisfy.
But you're not saying that he's innocent.
What I'm saying is that I can't prove that he's guilty.
I ask her about Rosario's insistence that she simply acknowledge that he's innocent.
I could understand his disappointment, but this is how it's going to work in his particular case. He's presumed innocent. He does not have to prove his innocent. He is innocent. So if I can't prove him guilty, then he remains innocent.
So what about other leads?
The case is still under investigation. I'm not ending the investigation. I'm ending the case against Mr. Rosario.
Or so she thought. The next day in court, an assistant district attorney gets right to the point.
In light of the people's inability to meet the burden at trial, the district attorney moves to dismiss all charges against Mr. Rosario in the interest of justice.
And then Rosario and his lawyers stand up and stun the courtroom.
And I would like to express my condolences to the family of the deceased. But the bottom line here is that their son deserves justice, their family deserves closure, and the public deserves the truth. I've been in prison for 20 years saying that I'm innocent. I've been transparent and forthcoming with information to prove my innocence. The public should know the truth.
That's when Rosario's lawyer actually asks the judge not to dismiss Rosario's case, until the DA says on the record that he didn't kill George Colazzo. The judge says this is a first for him.
An open homicide case still hangs over your head. Do you understand that?
Yes.
The judge tells everyone to come back in August to sort it out. Outside court, George Colazzo's father doesn't mince words about how he feels about Richard Rosario.
He goes around saying he's innocent, you know what I'm saying? He's lying to you and he's lying to the public.
I also catch up with Rosario to ask about what just happened.
They just tried to dismiss a murder indictment against you, and you said no thanks.
Yeah, no. Because the truth is important to me, and it should be important to the community and to the victim's family.
It's November 2016, and even though the judge said he wanted everybody back in August, it's taken 5 months to resolve the case, and it was only resolved last week. So now Richard is here at his attorney's office, and I'm going to go upstairs and talk to him and see how he's feeling about all this. Here's what happened. The judge officially dismissed the case against Richard Rosario, but the DA never said that Rosario couldn't have been the killer. Instead, in a statement, she said, "We have concluded that since we would be unable to prove his guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, the case should not be retried." And the DA said, "The investigation into the killing of George Colazzo will continue."
Sir? Yeah?
So it's 8 months since you've been out. Last we left you, you stood up in court in June and said, "Don't dismiss my murder indictment until you find me innocent." What happened?
I wanted to get completely exonerated. The fact that I did that wasn't with any intent of thumbing my nose down at people. I just wanted the truth. I wanted the transparency of the facts of what happened in my case, who was involved in my wrongful conviction. I wanted that to come out. It didn't, but it's still victory nevertheless.
For sure, it's been a long road for everyone involved with this case. And even though Rosario wasn't cleared the way he wanted to be, it's now over. And he says it was worth the wait.
My whole point of standing up is just letting the system know that this problem that's going on across the country with wrongful convictions is just something that has to stop. So I took that stance, and regardless of their conclusions, America knows I'm innocent. I know I'm innocent, and finally I can move on with my life.